Hi everyone, and welcome to another pick a card reading with a very specific subject. So this is not a timeless reading. Today we are taking a look at how Jupiter standing still in the sky, going stationary, starting from today and until the 24th of June, it's going to stand still in the sky and then of course prepare to go retrograde. And this celestial event in itself is quite significant under the present moment context because Jupiter is in its home sign of Pisces, so it is extremely strong, more karmic than any other place in the sky. And of course, Jupiter is the planet of good fortune. It rules over matters of luck, it rules over truth, the law, and that also includes divine justice. And when a planet stands still in the sky, it is at its closest to our planet, which not only means that its symbolism is greatly amplified, but that is the moment when its manifestation can be felt the strongest. So every time Jupiter stands still in the sky and prepares to go retrograde, that is always a moment, regardless of which sign it takes place in, when basically our luck starts to change one way or another, of course, going with the flow. And because right now we have Jupiter in its home sign of Pisces, well, that is more intense than, as I said, any other time. Of course, Jupiter in its other home sign of Sagittarius can be somewhat similar, but that is not as fated, that is not as karmic, if this makes sense, because Sagittarius has a lot to do with our input, with our philosophies, way of thinking, worldview, etc. Whereas Pisces is much more unconscious, so we might not be able to influence it as directly, as proficiently as we would when it is in the sign of Sagittarius, basically. And as I said earlier, this isn't a timeless reading, so this just takes a look at the close future, as in a week or two from this reading. It doesn't go into the full extent of Jupiter retrograde season. So basically this just takes a look at the immediate effects of this Jupiter standing still in the sky. Now, with this being said, the instructions are simple as always. Just take a look at the 3 piles of cards for a couple of seconds or as long as you need to, and then choose the one which speaks to your intuitive senses the most. Like always, this is a general reading, so just take in what resonates, what fits to your situation, and discard everything else. The interpretation with the timestamps can be found in the comment section and also in the description of the video below. Now let's get on to the reading and let's see how this Jupiter a stationary period is going to influence our lives. Hello everyone who has chosen the first pile. Your cards are the 3 of coins, the star, Ace of Swords reversed, and the Fool. Now, without a shadow of a doubt, the cards for this pile represent that the area of your life which is going to be most affected by this stationary Jupiter is your work, career, livelihood, material lives, source of income. So basically it is rather material, and at the same time it is a very fortunate energy because the star is the card of fulfilled hope. It is also the sign of Aquarius, so our hopes and dreams for the future, our futures as well, basically. And the star, which is graphically depicted in this card, is none other than Venus, and in astrology, Venus is the minor planet of good fortune. So either way, this does represent a very powerful change of luck. But with the Ace of Swords reversed, it might not really be under our control. We might not really be able to anticipate it, expect it, foresee it, calculate it. So it will kind of come out of the blue, and it might actually, reach us when we are not really prepared for this, or when our thoughts, our attention, our focus, the Ace of Swords, is diverted into a totally other area of life. So it might come as a surprise, quite delightful for some people, or like a breath of fresh air for other people. This is where the two situations divert. Because for some people, it influences the lucrative, career-oriented job, service area of life in a very constructive way, where maybe business, maybe a new cooperation, a new plan, a new strategy, something that will really, really tune up business, influx of customers. If you have been working at a place like a company or an area of expertise where the COVID situation and everything that has been going on in the world stage recently affected it in a negative way, there have been cuts, there have been, unfavorable changes in the recent past. Well, it is now when everything can not go back to normal, but improve massively. Maybe it's gonna be much better than it was before, or maybe this is like some kind of innovation. This is some kind of unexpected turn of events, which is definitely going to lead to a much better outcome than it could have been possibly planned, But it does base itself on the work that you have done, on the imprints that you have left through working, through creativity, through self-expression. So it doesn't really matter what kind of job it is, what kind of career it is. For some people it is like a real job where, they kind of work at a company in a very usual manner. For other people it is their own business, their own company. And for others still it is maybe a project type work or their hobbies or something that they have invested time, energy and effort into in the past, perhaps not a very distant past, maybe it just a year ago or 6 months ago. So for some people this can be quite new in itself. But regardless if it's your project career or a normal job, either way some fresh, new and unexpected energies are entering that area of life, which are going to manifest either as offers or unexpected communication, which kind of links new business together, like an innovation, an upgrade, new opportunities, new potential coming in, which will definitely lead you, maybe not immediately, maybe as you go with the flow, especially, if you're just working at a company, then this new current, this innovation or new business or new, maybe modus operandi, will just enter the company itself, and it will take a little bit of time until it gets to you, in the sense that it will play out in your personal life as well. But either way, be prepared for something new. Maybe the Fool, a new position, which sounds so very different than what you have done before, but it also has a potential, a sense of excitedness, a sense to grow and evolve differently and learn new things. So this will definitely feel like a new adventure and new training, a new learning new skills, collaborating with new people, or being part of a new team, or starting a totally different role is gonna be part of this picture. And for those who have their own business or are more independent, well, who knows where this new influx of energies can take your business or you as a professional, or with your project or whatever it is that you're doing. It will kind of definitely lead you to a new beginning, even though your whole project or whatever this is, your business itself, might not be that old, might still be new in itself. Yet this Fool kind of represents that it's kind of taking you to doing something new in the world, or a new way of doing whatever it is that you're doing. So it is a very, very innovative energy when you're basically the trendsetter, or that person who kind of breaks in the path, who kind of starts doing things this way for the first time, maybe in the world, maybe in whatever context you can place this into your life. So it is definitely something totally new, something fresh. And even if it's like an unexpected turn of events which comes out of the blue, you weren't even thinking about it, you weren't even inspired. It can be like a communication or an idea someone suggests or has, or it can be just an unexpected offer of collaboration where maybe a person or another field of expertise which you totally didn't have in mind or you wouldn't even think that it will work kind of just pops up, and you take this opportunity and something new is definitely gonna be born. But as I said, what you can expect at this Jupiter standing still in the sky period is that the information, the communication itself comes into your life, as I said again, unexpectedly, but it will definitely spark up your curiosity and you will definitely take it into consideration, and chances are later on you will definitely integrate this. Even if it's just a side project, even if you don't choose to integrate it directly into your work, even if you choose to keep the two separate, you will definitely give it a try, and it can actually lead you somewhere extremely, let's say, adventurous, creative, where you can also live out your young spirit, if this makes sense, your inner child. It has like a childlike vibration, not because it is so new and perhaps no one ever did it this way or like this before, but also because it's exciting. It really helps you tap into your most ingenious, creative place, if this makes sense. And it's definitely gonna be fun. It has a fun factor to it, even though there is also a risky side to it, but chances are the risk is minimal, and the fun factor and how it can satisfy you not just as a professional or materially or lucratively, but also your inner child, that is very important. So it will definitely feel like a breath of fresh air in your life, and it's gonna just tune up your everyday routines, because when so much fun is an active part of your life, and chances are you might be getting paid for it, or somehow it will advantage you physically, materially as well, it will feel like, like hitting two birds with the same stone. So it's definitely gonna be quite positive and surprising in the most delightful manner. Now, for other people, this is the second category within the first pile, if this makes sense. You guys, it doesn't matter if you have a career right now or if you're doing something, but chances are, whatever it is that you're doing, it's not working out very optimally, so to speak. It's not making you happy. It's not what you kind of expected. Maybe the material part isn't as rewarding as you kind of need it in your life. Or maybe the love, the passion, the creativity, the satisfaction that whatever it is once gave you is gone. Or maybe you are just very, very tired of your jobs, of your career, of your everyday routines. Maybe you're just simply fed up. You just don't want to do it anymore. You want a change of scenery or an upgrade or anything, or more freedom basically. And naturally you might not be able to do any of that because you're kind of stuck in a situation. You might really depend on the money, on the income, so you can't really risk your job. You can't risk your stability, your livelihood, but you still dream and desire of something just entering your life which will at least give you an alternative, at least make one side of this story brighter, happier, more free, more basically alive. And it might be that this dream, this desire of yours, even if you might not take it as seriously, even if this isn't what actually you're asking the universe to deliver to you, even if it's just a personal daydream, well, chances are that you might get an opportunity, exactly what you're desiring, exactly what you're wishing secretly inside of you, even if you're not focusing on it and not giving it enough energy. Well, it is still very much alive in your unconscious, and Jupiter in Pisces is all about the unconscious, so perhaps that will activate for you, and that is when you will be faced with a choice, with a moment when you can actually have a plan B in your life. It is not 100% that you will take it, that you will live with this opportunity, because this Ace of Swords is reversed, which means that it will just enter your life, but there is no guarantee that you will choose it. And it's not really a right or wrong choice. It will basically depend on how much personal power you possess in the present moment, because if you decide to live with this opportunity, to take this chance that will manifest in your life, well, the Fool card means that you have to start from scratch. And even if you might have a lot of help, a lot of resources, a lot of, it will come through as a good fortune in your life. The Star, that is basically a really, really positive and hopeful card. Yet you might not necessarily decide that you have everything you need inside of you to start again, to start from scratch, so you might decline this opportunity. But either way, it is still gonna be really, really helpful for you, because it will just show you how powerful your mind is, and that in itself will definitely help you further to fix whatever is causing this feeling of whatever you're doing right now, that it's not satisfying you, that it's not fulfilling you. So this event, this plan B that will come in your life, will be more like an example of just how strong the power of desire, the power of attracting what we truly, truly love, what would make us happy in our lives. So you will work with that power if this opportunity is not ideal for you, in the sense that you might not really have that inner strength to invest into a new beginning once more. Maybe the timing is a little bit off, maybe it comes too early, or maybe you're just really not ready for such a massive turn of events right now. Yet still, even if you have to decline this opportunity, it's almost like that power of Jupiter is gonna be present in your life, in yourself, in your inner world, in your mind even, and you will definitely change whatever you need to change lucratively with your, let's say, your routine, your career, which doesn't satisfy you any longer. So it's really good news either way. And also, this might be a longer term offer, so it is not something that you have to live with and decide straight away. And there is also that part that right now you can still philosophize, contemplate, think about it, and see how you feel later, because this is not just one of those flash opportunities which comes and goes in a second. This might be here to stay for some time now. Well, this is what the cards have to show for you, pile number 1. Thank you so much for listening, and I do wish that Jupiter blesses you in the most amazing and fantastic ways. Hello everyone who has chosen the second pile. Your cards are the Magician reversed, the 10 of Wands reversed, the Ace of Swords, and the High Priest. Now for you guys, what I'm picking up here is that the moment when Jupiter kind of entered into the sign of Pisces, which was around the 13th, 14th of May, it might have brought up a lot of inner feelings of frustration, restlessness, and at the same time a certain kind of powerlessness, because for you guys might have certain, the 10 of Wands reversed obstacles in your life, pressure, responsibilities, duties in your life, regardless if those are, let's say, professional, regarding friends, family, another person, partnerships, like a not so favorable material condition, problems in your career or finding work. And for some people, it can just simply represent every area of their lives not really being very harmonious in the present moment. And it's not that it was all that much harmonious before, but maybe you could cope, maybe you had a lot of faith, you had a lot of optimism, you had a lot of hope that basically kept you going. Because I do believe that the Ten of Wands, the pressure, basically feeling oppressed, not just in a human sense, but also spiritually, emotionally, intellectually, maybe it's society, maybe it's everything that is going on in the world, maybe it is basically the lack of options, lack of opportunities, lack of happy moments in life, which, there is a sense of duty here, which you are extremely serious about. So if other people, like your family or something that you have at work, or maybe it's spiritual duty, emotional duty, your relationship, your marriage, or whatever this is, you're very serious about it. So yes, you are sacrificing, yet it is extremely hard for you. It's making you feel oppressed, like you don't have enough freedom in your life. You're not living life as other people. Maybe it's like a slavery where it's actually fate who is your slave driver. Because I do believe that this is where you have no real other options, because it is like a strong moral energy. So you not sacrificing your time, energy, freedom, whatever this is not even an option basically, because you are just not as selfish to go into survival mode and leave those people who are basically dependent on you, regardless if, as I said, this is a job or it is your family, spiritually or in any other way. You're not abandoning a sinking ship. You're trying your hardest to keep some kind of structure, stability, maybe uplift others, maybe share your hope, your optimism, your faith with others. So it's really, really hard for you. It is like the moment when the Christ carried the cross. It's really hard to bear at times, because the pressure is like non-stop, 24/7, maybe even in your dreams, maybe even in your peaceful moments, you just feel pressured, suffocated, always worried, always overthinking. But this is where you might not have a choice. You have to figure it out. You have to have a solution. You have to know what you're gonna do tomorrow, how you're gonna keep things, as stable as possible. So just thinking about it, analyzing it, and this anticipating what is about to come is an active part of your duty, so to speak. And the Magician reverse, well, this speaks about, on one hand, your spiritual effort to manifest something, in the sense that something better, a solution, another kind of life, another approach to this. You just want to have your cake and eat it as well, in the sense that you don't want to basically run away from this. You don't want to abandon this. You don't want to quit in the sense that you just abandon it and go live for yourself. But you want like a solution which works for the situation, but also for you as well. As in, there has to be something to make it easier for you, to make your life more stable, to give you more time for yourself, or whatever that Ten of Wands reversed means. Because reversed, taking the cross off of your shoulders, off of your back, a period of respite when basically you just can live your life, you can just be, you can just focus on whatever it is that you want to focus on, and not the problems, not the duties, not the suffocation. And your efforts to manifest something else, well, they haven't been really, let's say, spot on, in the sense that your will, your concentration, your focus, you planting seeds of intentions into the universe might have shown results, but none of them were like a bullseye where you just found the right solution. And at the same time, a lot of this is outside under your control, because whatever was under your control, your direct influence, I do see that you did a lot of work, you upgraded, you done whatever it is that you could, but everything that doesn't depend on you, well, it is so chaotic, it is so unstable, and it is this instability, unreliability for the future that is like scaring you. That is the emotional part of the burden. And what this Jupiter standing still in the sky is going to do for you, well, it's this Ace of Swords moment. This can represent more than one manifestation. It can simply be an inner epiphany, that bright idea, that communication or solution, you seeing in a very practical and palpable way the road which leads you exactly where you want to be, where you need to be. Maybe this solution isn't yours personal, but it's just something that will take away your responsibilities and duties instantly, which might be basically heaven for you. That might be everything that you want and desire and need in your life. And especially if some people depend on you, as I said, either friends, family, partner, children, or at your job, colleagues and the company, etc. Maybe someone else is taking off part of your responsibilities. Maybe they get some kind of other source of help, something legal, something from, let's say, a government, an institution, housing. It can be so very many things, because this high priest represents, well, on one hand, it is a perfectly legal, perfectly down to earth a solution. So it might have to do with an agreement, a contract, an official solution of the situation. It can also be compensation or help, or it can simply be a manifestation of your faith. But the reason why the Magician is reversed is exactly to give way to the Hierophant, because the Magician is also a card of manifestation, but the Magician has to have everything under control. It has to have the blueprint. It has to have that mental energy where you mentally influence your reality. But with the High Priest, it is with your faith. So it is much more heart-centered. It is much more based on everything that you love. That it is basically the magnetism of your heart. The Magician is basically knowing equals believing equals it's you getting it. But with the High Priest, it is more like need and sheer belief and a matter of value and worth, because you kind of need that in your life, and spiritually you're a really valuable person, because the High Priest also represents a certain kind of immaculity, especially from a karmic sense. Maybe you were part of charitable causes, or maybe this situation, the Ten of Wands in your life, is out of compassion, out of solidarity, out of doing the right thing morally as a human being. So this also represents that good karma, or the benevolent, the merciful side of the universe has to be present in your life. And believing in that you're actually gonna get divine help, because you yourself are in this situation the representative of the divine aspect of mercy or compassion, or you trying your best to offer stability to other people. Because of this, it will definitely manifest one way or another. And you don't even need to have it under your control, because when it is out of need, the divine intelligence can use its own intelligence and not necessarily your mental patterns, what you think is possible, probable, what you think that might work or not, This is where the universe taps into its own infinite intelligence, and that is why this Ace of Swords, while it can be a surprise, it can be, as I said, either an epiphany, a bright idea, eureka moment coming from you, it can be a favorable communication, it can be legal, as in legal help, a charity, or like a status quo, or help from a highly influential person. It can also be an offer, business, anything that might truly make your situation better and help you take off the burden, the cross, the responsibility, and lead you to this position of the high priest, having solid guarantees, being able to just feel safe and secure in your life, and even mentally, because once you know that it's legally binding, you're gonna be safe and sound no matter what, as a legal guarantee. Well, that is gonna offer you a huge comfort. That is basically gonna take off a massive boulder off of your heart and even your mind, because it will help you detach and not overthink, not over worry. And chances are the High Priest is also a very material card, in the sense that it is the symbol of Taurus, the second house, so money, personal finances, values, what we hold personally as treasures. So however this manifests, well, it is gonna offer you even a physical sense of groundedness, sense of safety, stability, and it's gonna be a massive breakthrough, this Ace of Swords. Even if, as I said, it's not really under your control, you cannot simply anticipate what that opportunity or what that divine manifestation of your deep faith is gonna look like. But, the essence of this is, you are so right in believing that if you chose to give way and embody the universe's aspect of mercy, compassion, kindness, being strong for others, well, this will mirror in your life as well, even if it's a little bit delayed, even if you think that it's way too late in your life. The Magician reversed is also timing. You might think that, well, you're so caught up in this anymore that nothing that could ever possibly happen is gonna make you feel better. But this is where you're actually wrong, because it will make you feel so much better. So yes, what you need to have in your life, this desire of yours to relieve the pressure, the tension, the responsibilities, the burden, the oppression basically, is a little bit late. That is totally true, but it's still coming. So, even if you find it very, very hard, even if you find it almost impossible, you just need to endure a little bit more, because things will definitely get better and that breakthrough is coming. And you know what they say, better late than never. So, maybe this can help you or inspire you, hold on just a little bit more, even though I kind of know that it's not easy for you guys and you might not really have all that patience anymore. Neither does anything right now make sense in your life, the Magician reversed. But things will definitely get better, and since this reading is for the close future, it's not that far away now. So this is what the cards have to say for you. Thank you so much for listening. Wish everyone a blessed and really magical and almost miraculous Jupiter stationary. Hello everyone who has chosen the third pile. Your cards are the Tower, the Five of Pentacles, the High Priest reversed, and the Wheel of Fortune. Now for you guys, this Jupiter stationary period might be a little bit painful. It might be a little bit really, really suffocating emotionally and psychologically, because it will really, really bring back a lot of painful, unpleasant memories, insecurities, which happened not so long ago, unfortunately. So these might actually be rather I'm not even sure if I should use this word, this expression, but it's really what I'm feeling, what I'm getting. Fresh traumas, if this makes sense. And this is a little bit twisted, this is a little bit complicated, because there is a spiritual element to this as well. So this might go back to the year 2016. For other people, it might have only begun in 2018, 2019, where this was like a massive upheaval moment in your life, where you might have had either a divorce, your career, your material life, or your marriage, or something which was a main source of your stability, basically a source of you feeling alive, which crumbled, crashed down, and it brought up all your childhood, your young year trauma, sense of failure, sense of disappointment, where you weren't feeling accomplished. You were feeling like you were living a kind of life which was a lie, which was not you, which was just meant to satisfy other people. It was basically like your mask, which you had to take off and just destroy with your own hands. And basically it was almost like a dark night of the soul, where you started climbing the mountain, the endless mountain basically, where each step was so painful, so risky, so unsettling. You had to confront basically your traumas, your fears, and when confronting your fears, they actually manifested in front of your eyes. They kind of became reality. But the good part was that confronting each and every one of them resolved the trauma. It really helped you close and accept the past, purge it out, free yourself, basically return to innocence. But the path there, the journey there, even though this might be a closed chapter in your life, basically the modus operandi, the very strong inner work, enlivening your pains, your fears, everything that was basically your most wounded self, re-enlivening that part of you, caused a spiritual trauma in itself, if this makes sense. So the healing work, the operation to remove that which is no longer you from the distant past, was so painful, and the recovery was so hard that represented a new trauma in itself. So instead of making you feel better, making you embrace the new you, making you live in an empowered way where your healthy sense of self-worth and your inner truth just sets you free, and it makes you basically feel alive, and every second of being alive is a miracle. It is a gift. It is a source of gratitude, pleasure, joy, because you realize that happiness, your own fulfillment, your own satisfaction never ever must depend on other people. This was one of your biggest lessons. Yet the problem is, you might have realized this, you might have done this, yet it was so painful to get to where you are now that it just drained your soul. It drained your inner power. It consumed you. And because of this, you might be healed psychologically, you might be a new person, you might have everything that you need inside of you for a life of gratitude and appreciation, a story where you are the main character and it is just you and the divine, it is just you and the adventurous life that is possible for you even now, with your old connections being ripped out of your life. No one can enslave you, no one can take your liberty away, no one can hurt you anymore. You made that sure, you healed, you basically had a moment of rebirth in a quite literal sense, because psychologically, even your sense of identity, even your ego, who you identify yourself to be, is basically your truest and most authentic and truly upgraded version, because now it is your soul which is at the very core of your universe, the center of your world, and not an illusion, not another person, not a past pattern, not something which, maybe your family and your parents or society itself educated into you, but it is rather your soul, your truth, and everything that makes you happy based on profound self-knowledge. Yet all of that is fantastic, but because you are drained of your energy, because healing took basically every ounce of your soul strength, well, right now you might be going through a really bad physical condition, the Five of Coins, which can represent illness, which can represent extreme fatigue. It can represent that maybe your material life just crumbled to dust. You find yourself unable to work. You find yourself unable to connect to others. You find yourself as a total alien in a world that was always used to be your home. You never felt this disconnected before in all your life. And basically your old faith, the High Priest, also crumbled. So it's like a total shatter and crumble of both your external structures but also your inner structures. And even though this isn't something necessarily bad or negative, because this does return you to innocence, this does return you into a state where you can almost like embrace a new life, like almost literally being born again, where everything starts from scratch, where you're almost living a second childhood. And that's why you feel, and even your physical life reflects vulnerability, where you, despite your efforts, despite your will, you might not really be able to take care of yourself right now. Like you just can't work for anything that you want or need to have in your life right now. You might be so okay psychologically, emotionally, but spiritually and materially, you might not understand what exactly is going on, because it's almost like you broke free from your cocoon, from your egg, you hatched basically. So shouldn't reality, shouldn't life, shouldn't nature, shouldn't the universe support you like a responsible and loving parent? Because you are meant to be helpless right now, and you know that. As in, you do process, you do realize that like this kind of rebirth does take away someone's power. It does take away the wholeness of someone's inner energy, and the inner structures and outer structures are meant to crumble. So this is part of the picture, but not being able to escape from this state is what really shocks you and worries you, because this isn't how things were supposed to play out. And the Wheel of Fortune closes this reading, and that is basically both the symbolism in tarot of Jupiter, but also that moment that you've been waiting for, that has been promised to you, and that which has to make this story, this chapter of your life truly fall into place, make sense, be rational, logical, not just linearly, but also non-linearly, because Jupiter is also faith, it is also your own life view and spirituality. And the thing is, that moment is definitely gonna happen. That is part of the picture. Like, you just know that it cannot play out in any other way, because it would mean your kind of demise, in the sense that someone or something has to help you out right now, because you are genuinely helpless. And it is coming, that you just know that is the way things have to play out. That is what also the cards show you, and that is basically planned in the divine pattern. Yet it is the timing This might be the biggest problem because you might have no clue when this may be possible for you, because it can be tomorrow, but it can also be in 2 years. And you might not have a lot of time, in the sense that you are helpless, you are extremely vulnerable, no one's there for you, and yes, it's the way it has to be. But if this state is ongoing, well, it will turn into a bigger trauma than the ones you kind of healed in the recent past. And you don't want that to happen, because that will be a broken faith, a broken trust between you and the divine. One that even the fulfillment of this will not fix anymore. Because surrender and not being in your control is absolutely fine. But when you have no word to say at all, that is not fine. Because that kind of means that you're fate's slave, if this kind of makes sense. And that is not cool. That is not love. That is not kind of benevolence. And if you do experience that, if your inner timing basically clocks out, as in it stops, time runs out for you personally, and the faith is broken, I'm not sure what can possibly fix it. As I said, even if what you need in your life to get you out of this state happens miraculously, or it happens excessively in a way that it's way beyond your expectation, that might not be enough at all to fix it, to heal it, to undo the trauma that this will cause. And that is exactly why this Wheel of Fortune also represents the timing of when and how this is gonna happen. And it says that you have been in this state, in this position before in your life. There was a moment once when you were a bit younger, maybe, when you surrendered something that was very important to you, and you didn't really have any options, alternatives in your life. Something suddenly, unexpectedly just popped up and saved your situation, even though the situation needed a lot of compromise, so it wasn't something perfect. It was good, you could work with it, live with it, but it also had another side to it which wasn't that easy for you. And that same karmic theme, that reenactment of the karmic patterns, is gonna resurface once more. So you're in the stage where you have no options. So you will just know that something will pop up in your life, but this time it's compromise free. It will offer you a way out. It will be like a very lucky opportunity. And the big difference is that this time you will truly think about yourself, just yourself, absolutely no one else. This is the divine gift for you personally. You will definitely not even want to share it with anyone, or anyone being present or part of this. So it will be just you and your opportunity, and that's why it's gonna play out in a totally different way than the past cycles, because this situation is always like a recurring theme in your life, one which kind of happens every 12 years or so. So the very first one in your life might have been regarding your study or what you want to do in your life when you came to age. You felt very optionless, or you were really, really stuck and you just didn't know what to do with your life when you were very, very young. So that was one manifestation. Then there was another one after 12 years where the theme was similar, but maybe you had to choose your path, or where you wanted to live, or what you wanted to do. But it was like a massive crisis where the opportunity just popped up out of nowhere. Then there was another one after another 12 years. Of course, depending on your personal situation, because some people are not young enough to have too many 12 years, one after another. And this is another one that is gonna happen, so you can just anticipate the way things are gonna be solved. Just that this time, because you will choose no compromise, because you only live for your story right now, because that is your duty to yourself, that is what the universe taught you, things are gonna play out totally differently in a very ideal and favorable way, where after this period you are gonna be in control of your life for good. And in the following 12 years, because you just know that this is the karmic theme that always comes back, this will definitely not have any material implications, neither will it have any psychological implications the next time it will play out. So after 12 years, it will be spiritual purely, in the sense that it will just be an upgrade of your faith, of your lifestyle, and it will have no purging element to it. It will have no deconstruction. It won't have a tower moment once more, because this is how your wisdom and life experience and profound self-knowledge gives you power, control, and basically makes you the king of your own castle, of your life. So the past will not have to return no longer. It will be the most ideal expression of this recurring theme. So this is basically the big picture, why it's so hard right now, because you're not working sheerly to get out of this situation, to get out of this cycle, but also to make the other return, which will happen in 12 years, to be ideal, positive, and absolutely upheaval, tower free, if this makes sense. So this is what the cards have to say for you. Thank you so much for listening. I really wish that this stationary Jupiter at least illuminates you, at least it blesses you with wisdom. Because as I said, the timing is not set in stone. So that is something which only your inner forces can tell you. You can feel inside if you're close to breakthrough, or if you are still going through a period of having to resist, having to stand your ground. And the way you can tell it, the more lost you feel, the more hopeless you feel, and contrast to this, the less you kind of care, because you already accepted it, that you're lost and this is it, bye. That means that the sooner that fated moment, that timing is to you, because you just know that the way it always plays out is that it hits you unexpectedly. So when you don't even care anymore, so that's how you can kind of anticipate the timing for you personally. But I do wish that at least this Jupiter stationary blesses you with the wisdom and with the inner strength necessary to hold on. And for some of you it might be, as I said, it can be tomorrow, so let's keep the fingers crossed. Now this concludes the reading for today. I do hope that you enjoyed it and you found it useful. If you'd like to support my work, you can donate on the PayPal link in the description below. Thank you everyone for listening, for all the likes, shares, and beautiful comments. Until next time, bye for now.